Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. Today is February 9th, 2019, and it is now 8:14 p.m. What an interesting day I had. I was cleaning my room, trying to put order in my life. It's very symbolic. I decided while cleaning up that I put on some recordings that were done at numerous sessions that I've had with spiritual advisors and hypnotists. And I did those things, or participated in those things, for personal enlightenment. And while listening to one of the recordings, I started to feel impatient with myself, like old news, like it's all old news. And that particular recording, I think, was done in 2015, so it's a number of years ago. But this is actually a good thing. This is actually a good thing, because you know what? That some of those things that were important to me back then, and I thought it was so important. What was important to me a couple of years back, I thought what would help my spiritual development was to know where my ancestors came from in Africa and even some parts of Europe. But now I see that I was wrong. I think initially my believing that it was essential for me to know was really based on the current environment that I came out from. In New York City, race, ethnicity, nationality is an issue because you have a lot of competition. And people are vying for supremacy, and it's all a mental game of who's going to dominate. And if you want to promote your culture being better than, it's a way of having a duel, like fencing another person. And sometimes when you might be engaging with someone, and one might say, oh, well, our people, or my religion does this, and the other person, well, I do that. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know much of my background, and I felt that the people that were about me, or surround me in life, that's the weapon they used to fight, to have these duels with me. And because I didn't have the same type of bullets that they had, I felt inadequate. And that's the key word, inadequacy. And it doesn't have to even be with a nationality or race or religion. It could be, let's say, your physical attributes or your education level. It could be anything. It could even be how much jewelry you have, or how you wear your hair, what type of shoes you have. It's endless. So for me, a couple of years ago, I thought by tapping into that part of my life, that emptiness, that by knowing about my ancestry, it would fill that gap and empower me. Yes, knowledge is power. It can be used to empower, but it is not power in itself to know where your ancestors came from, or, details about their lives. Because, see, your ancestors lived their own lives. They had to handle what they had to handle by themselves. They may not have known who their parents were, or where they were from, or details about their lives. So why should I ask and wonder about someone? I mean, not to be insensitive, but I mean, if they didn't know their ancestors, so I'm going to pray and wonder about a particular ancestor and they didn't even know themselves. So it's like the blind leading the blind. You hear what I'm saying? Yes, it's a nice feeling to know about where your genetics comes from and the lineage that carried these genetics from one generation to another. But see, when you really go back, you have multitudes and multitudes of relatives, of ancestors. Each time you go back a generation, it's multiplied that much more. Everything just duplicates exponentially. So my reasoning now is it's a dead end. And yeah, it's a dead end. It does not have any that same meaning for me anymore. And I'm glad about that. And while listening to one of the recordings, the spiritual advisor had said in one of the visions that he had regarding me in the session, he saw a vision of a Model T automobile. And he told me that it was to symbolize that, in short, you got an old car, you need a new model, you've outgrown the Model T, you need to change the vehicle, you need to go on to the next chapter. And you know, he's right. And so when I was listening to one of the recordings with this individual, I was impatient in my spirit because it seems redundant what I was talking about. And I saw how I was emotionally very vulnerable sounding and hoping in something in the dead. I mean, I'm not here to put down anybody who has a practice of ancestor worship. Whatever what you do, may it empower you. If praying to your ancestors empowers you, continue. I don't want for myself to put a hope in someone or something, and it's something that I can do for myself. Yes, I need to change the chapter, change the story. I have to get going, moving forward. I have to take that step of personal empowerment. And empowerment, I mean, I think the people that we bump into in life, they might be there to just maybe as a reminder or an encouragement, but they are not God. They can't just, do this and that. It's a process that you have to make for yourself. I have to make that decision. And I think I'm waiting for someone to come along and just tell me what to do. I would like to get to a point and say, I want to do this definitively. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to go there. If I don't do that, you're going to just stay where you are. And you're not going to develop. I know there was something else that I wanted to talk about with this. I have to make that step. Yeah, this life is a journey. Just like you have to chew your own food. So I'm grateful that I was listening to the different recordings. I think they were, at the time, essential. It was very essential. But now, listening to it, I thought I would be listening to it over and over again. I think it's outdated now. I'm glad I have it, and so if I do want to refer to certain things, I have it. But I see now that I am growing. For me to realize, it's like putting on a garment, and it's too small. It's going to make you very uncomfortable. So that shows that there have been some growth, some progress going on. At least I'm aware now that, hey, it's an old argument, what I was thinking or doing back then. And that's a good thing. There was something else I was, that I wrote down. I had gotten inspired a couple of days back. And I said to myself, I want to do something different. I want to encourage myself, and I would like the power of commerce. Yeah, especially now, as I made mention in one of my recent videos, that I have been spending a lot of money on things, and my dog's health, my health, and everything. And so I was thinking about this idea that I could promote. There are these words that I want to promote in my life. It's wellness, prosperity, spiritual enlightenment, positive relationships, and adventure. I think in my life right now that these, there are 5 elements. I want to, for me, address each one of those elements of wellness, prosperity, spiritual enlightenment, positive relationships, and adventure. And that maybe every day I could choose even just one of the items on that list to encourage me, to enhance. See, it's not so much how much you accomplish, but even just doing one thing. Just like today, I focused on specific areas in my home to clean up. And it's symbolic, this cleaning up of your home. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to be, overwhelmed. But maybe you can just focus on a little corner or a table, and when you do it, you're thorough, It could be just a 12-inch by 12-inch, you know? But you get it done and make it look good. And at least it's done. So the same with these 5 elements. So what could I do that would provide me wellness? What could I do to bring adventure to my life? Or establishing positive friendships, etc. And you know, those people out there who are listening to me now, or listening to this audio, that you can develop your own list. You say, okay, Spirit Journey has this list that's important to her. I could create my own list. And, you know, every day I can do one thing on that list too. So maybe this is something that we can do together and encourage one another that we could accomplish something so that we can get to the next journey of our life. So I hope you enjoyed this brief talk, and may you have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye-bye.